Okay, hi and welcome everyone. This is the demonstration for the activity for creating a time lapse of your natural light setup. So in class I showed you how to use the remotes and how to set up the remotes. You've taken the pictures, you've downloaded them to your computer, and now you're going to make them into a time lapse. So to do this, you're going to select the folder that you have created that has your images from your time lapse. Mine is right here, which I've titled Images for Time-Lapse. And you can see that I have all my images from my time-lapse. Okay? I'm going to open up the first one. Oops, excuse me. I'm going to open up the first one into Photoshop. And I'm going to be creating an action that is going to say, whatever I do to this photo, I want it to do to all the other photos. And I'm going to do this by creating what's called an action. Now, actions can be found over here on the palette bar or up in the window and select actions. It's this little play button. We're going to be creating a new action for this folder, for this photo. To create a new action, we're going to want to put it in its own set. So we're going to create a new set and we're going to title that TL for module 2. You can name it whatever you want to. And inside that set, we're going to create a new action. And again, you can name it whatever you want to. I'm going to name it TL for time lapse. Okay? Now, you can see that the little red button is turned on. That means it's going to record every action or everything I do in Photoshop from this point on. So if I add curves, it'll record the curves and apply it to the next photo that I want to apply to. So the first thing I'm going to do is maybe change the curves, maybe darken a little bit, and maybe I will turn it black and white. You don't have to turn yours black and white, but I thought it would be fun to turn it black and white. And it looks like I want to add a little more contrast to this black and white. So something like there would be nice. Okay? So I've corrected my image now. I've done what I wanted to do. And you can see that it's recorded that here. Next thing that I want to do is crop it. So I'm going to choose the crop button, or the crop tool. Press C on your keyboard or go over to the toolbar and select the crop tool. And I'm going to crop it to 16:9 because that is the ratio which we're going to be using for video. Now you can move this crop up or down depending on your composition. Maybe I'll move mine down a little bit. I'm going to press return, which will crop the photo. Okay, you can see that it has recorded the crop. And so it'll crop every other photo in my folder to that same size in the same place. Okay. If you shot your images on something other than JPEG, then you're going to have to change the image size to 72 dpi or 72 resolution pixels per inch. That'll be great for video as well. But mine are already at 72, so I'm just going to press cancel. And then, okay, so my action is all set and ready to go. I can press the stop button and it'll stop recording. I can close this folder and, close this photo and don't save. And then I'm going to be using a script so I can apply this action to all the photos within my time lapse. So I'm going to select File, go to Scripts, and Image Processor. This will bring up a new window or a new box with a 4-step process. The first step is to select the folder of images you want to apply the action to. So I'm going to select my folder that has my time-lapse images in it and say Open. And you can see that it's listed here now. The second step is to select a location to save the processed images. I'm just going to select Save in Same Location. That's the default. Just leave it clicked. The third is to choose the file type. Now you could have it save in JPEGs, PSDs, or TIFFs. But we're going to save for JPEG for our video and keep the quality at 12. We're going to leave this unchecked, the resize to fit, leave it unchecked. We're just going to move on to step number 4, which is the running action part. And so we're going to leave that box clicked. So run action. We're going to choose the set which is the TL for module 2 that we created, and choose the time lapse, or sorry, choose the action that we created, which is time lapse. Everything else we're just going to leave checked, and we're going to press run, and you can watch the photos. You can watch the action being applied to all the photos in that folder. It might take a little while, so I'll stop the video here and pick up when it's finished. Okay, it seems like that script is finished. I'm just going to go ahead and hide Photoshop, and I'm in my image folder now, and inside there should be a new folder titled JPEG with all the images that have been created. And there we go. Now we can see my 16:9 cropped photos that I'm going to be using for my time lapse. Okay, the next step is now to import these into Premiere. So I'm going to open up Premiere, start a new project, title it TL for Module 2, so time lapse for Module 2. I'm going to select the location, which is going to be in my demonstrations folder. It could be whatever folder you want, or whatever folder your time lapse is in. And then choose that, and then select OK. The Premiere box is going to open up. And before I import my photos, the first thing I'm going to do is go to my preferences in Premiere. And I'm going to go to my general preferences. And it says still image default duration. Still image default duration. It's set automatically at 150 frames. That is about 10 seconds or so. I'm going to choose 1 frame because I want each picture to import and only take up 1 frame of the timeline. That's how we're going to make it move very quickly, like a time lapse. So I'm going to select 1 frame, and then I'm going to press OK. Okay, now I'm going to import my images, and they'll all import at 1 frame. All right. So go to my folder, go to that JPEG folder that was created by your Photoshop script, and select Import. It's going to import my files. Now, I'm going to drag my files to the timeline here, which you can see they're all there. And I have 2 seconds of time-lapse footage, but looks like I need to render it, so I'm going to go to Sequence, select all of them, and Sequence Render Selection. Okay, it's done rendering, and I can just press play, and there goes my time-lapse. You can see me setting up my studio. Voila. I go from an empty space to having my natural light studio. Fantastic. And my cheesy smile at the end. Before you finish, you need to go and export your time lapse. So you can just go to File, Export Media. Just choose QuickTime Format, which is right here in the format settings, and just leave everything else default. The video codec should be H.264 if it's not already. I think it is by default. And then just press export. Okay, once it has finished exporting, you can go ahead. This box will close automatically. And you can go to save your project and quit Premiere. So then you can go and find your video file, which here mine is titled JPEG.move, and you can play it. 2 seconds of me setting up my time lapse. All right, I can't wait to watch your time lapses in the class, next class, and we'll have a good time seeing everyone set up their studio setup. Thank you very much. I hope this was helpful.